The Mickey Mantle's journey from commerce to immortality. October 1st, 1961. 67,000 fans packed into Yankee Stadium. Red Sox pitcher Tracy Stallard wound up, confident in his fastball. Roger Maris sat in the dugout, having hit 61 home runs to break Babe Ruth's record just hours earlier in the season's final game. But Mickey Mantle, nursing an abscess on his hip that had him limping for weeks, stood in the on-deck circle, watching his teammate make history while his own chase had ended at 54. What the crowd didn't know was that they were watching a pattern that would define Mickey Mantle's entire existence. Breathtaking talent constantly at war with devastating frailty. The greatest natural ability baseball had ever seen, slowly destroyed by a body that seemed determined to betray him. This isn't just a story about home runs and championships. It's about a boy from Oklahoma lead mines who carried his family's dreams and his father's dying wishes into every at-bat. About how unlimited potential met unforgiving reality, and how Mickey Mantle became both the most gifted and most tragic figure his sport has ever known. Commerce, Oklahoma, 1931 to 1949. October 20th, 1931. Spavinaw, Oklahoma, a small town where Mickey Charles Mantle was born. When he was just 4 years old, his family moved to nearby Commerce, Oklahoma, a lead and zinc mining town where children grew up breathing dust that would kill them young. Elvin Mutt Mantle, 21, and Lovell Richardson Mantle, 19, were raising their family in a world of poverty and poison. Mickey Charles Mantle, named after Mickey Cochrane, the Philadelphia Athletics catcher Mutt idolized. The name was a promise and a burden. This boy would be a baseball player. The Mantle family home sat 100 yards from the Blue Goose mine. Mutt worked underground, drilling into rock faces, breathing silica dust that scarred his lungs. He came home each evening covered in gray powder, coughing. He was 21 when Mickey was born. He wouldn't live to see 40. By age 4, Mickey was already learning the craft that would define his life. Mutt threw right-handed. Grandpa Charlie threw left-handed. Every evening after work, sometimes in near darkness, they made Mickey switch sides of the plate, training him to be baseball's rarest commodity, a true switch hitter. "Hit it again," Mutt would say, even when Mickey's hands were blistered and bleeding. "One more swing." The training was relentless, brutal, but Mutt knew something Mickey couldn't yet understand. Baseball was the only escape from the mines that had already sentenced his own lungs to death. The first tragedy struck in 1941. Mickey's Uncle Tunney died at 24, Hodgkin's lymphoma, then Uncle Emmett at 32, same disease, then Mutt's father, Grandpa Charlie, at 38. The Mantle men didn't live long. The mines claimed those they didn't kill directly. Mutt never spoke about the family curse, but Mickey understood. He grew up believing he'd die young too. That belief would shape every decision he made, every drink he took, every night he refused to go home. Commerce High School, 1946 to 1949. By sophomore year, Mickey was 5'10", 160 pounds of pure fast-twitch muscle. He could run from home to first in 3.1 seconds from the left side, 3.0 from the right. Nobody had seen that kind of speed combined with that kind of power. He played shortstop and pitched. In one game, he struck out 16 batters. In another, he hit 3 home runs. College scouts appeared. Major league scouts appeared. Everyone wanted to know who was this kid from the mines. But in 1946, during football practice, Mickey took a kick to the left shin. The leg swelled. The pain became unbearable. Doctors diagnosed osteomyelitis, a bone infection that nearly required amputation. Penicillin, recently made available to civilians after World War II, saved his leg, but not his future. The infection would flare up repeatedly, weakening the bones that needed to support his explosive power. Tom Greenwade, a Yankees scout who discovered Mickey during his junior year, kept watching. He saw a 17-year-old with a body already breaking down, but talent that defied explanation. "This kid," Greenwade wrote in his report, "might be the best prospect I've ever seen, but his legs worry me. If they hold up, he'll be the greatest player who ever lived. If they don't, It'll be the saddest thing baseball has ever seen. June 1949, high school graduation. The Yankees offered $1,100 and a bus ticket to Independence, Kansas, to play Class D ball. Mutt told Mickey to sign. "You're getting out of the mines, that's all that matters." Mickey signed. He boarded the bus carrying his father's dreams, his family's hope, and legs that were already betraying him. The Ascent, 1949 to 1956. Independence, Kansas, summer 1949. Mickey's professional debut was a revelation. He hit .313 with 7 home runs in 89 games. He struck out 55 times, but also showed flashes of brilliance that had Yankees management salivating. The next season, Joplin, Missouri, Class C ball. Mickey hit .383 with 26 home runs, 136 RBIs, and 141 runs scored. He also struck out 99 times, revealing the pattern that would define his career: awesome power alongside tremendous vulnerability. Yankees manager Casey Stengel watched film of Mickey and said something prophetic. "This kid is going to hit 60 home runs or strike out 170 times, maybe both in the same season." Spring training, 1951. Mickey arrived at Yankees camp in Phoenix at 19 years old. He weighed 195 pounds, all of it muscle. His teammates watched him take batting practice and fell silent. He hit balls out of the park from both sides of the plate with equal power, balls that didn't just clear the fence but disappeared into neighborhoods beyond. "I played with Joe DiMaggio," pitcher Vic Rasky said. "I thought I'd seen the best. Then this kid from Oklahoma showed up and I realized we'd been playing a different game." The Yankees brass faced a decision: keep Mickey in the majors or send him down for more seasoning. His talent demanded the majors. His strikeouts suggested he wasn't ready. They chose talent. Opening day, April 17, 1951, Yankee Stadium. Mickey Mantle, 19, wearing number 6, Joe DiMaggio's heir apparent, stepped into the batter's box. The weight of Yankee tradition settled on his shoulders like lead. The 1951 season was brutal. Mickey hit .267 with 13 home runs, but struck out 74 times in 96 games. The New York press, vicious and unforgiving, tore him apart. He wasn't DiMaggio. He struck out too much. He was a bust, a hick from Oklahoma who didn't belong in pinstripes. In July, the Yankees sent Mickey to Kansas City, their AAA affiliate. He called Mutt, crying, "I can't do it, Dad. I'm not good enough. Maybe I should just come home and work in the mines." Mutt drove overnight from Commerce. He found Mickey in his hotel room and began packing his son's suitcase. "You're right," Mutt said coldly. "You're not good enough. Let's go home. You can work in the mines like me. That's what quitters do." Mickey stared at his father, the man who'd sacrificed everything, whose lungs were already failing. "I don't want to quit." "Then stop feeling sorry for yourself and play baseball." Mutt left, Mickey stayed. He hit .361 in Kansas City with 11 home runs in 40 games. The Yankees called him back up. He never went down again. 1952 to 1953, the Emergence. The 1952 season established Mickey as a legitimate star. He hit .311 with 23 home runs, played exceptional center field, and helped the Yankees win the World Series. But more importantly, with DiMaggio retired, Mickey was no longer the heir apparent. He was the centerpiece. The 1953 season was when Mickey Mantle became Mickey Mantle. He hit .295 with 21 home runs, but the numbers didn't capture what was happening. He hit balls that defied physics. On April 17th, against the Senators at Griffith Stadium, Mickey hit a ball that cleared the left field bleachers, sailed over the beer sign, and landed in a backyard across the street. Yankees PR man Red Patterson measured the distance, 565 feet. The term tape measure home run was born that day. "I've seen thousands of home runs," Senators owner Clark Griffith, 84 years old, said afterward. "I've never seen anything like that. Nobody has." But Mickey's legs were already failing. The osteomyelitis flared constantly. He played through pain that would have benched other players. He wrapped his legs in bandages every game, soaked them in whirlpools afterward, and never complained publicly. Privately, he drank to numb the pain. The peak, 1956 to 1957. The Triple Crown season. 1956 was the season when all of Mickey's talents synchronized perfectly. His body cooperated. His timing was flawless. He was 24 years old and playing baseball at a level the sport had rarely seen. He hit .353 with 52 home runs and 130 RBIs, winning the Triple Crown, the MVP, and leading the Yankees to another World Series championship. He hit home runs from both sides of the plate in the same game 4 times. He came within 18 feet of hitting a ball completely out of Yankee Stadium, something no one had ever done. Mickey Mantle in 1956, Ted Williams said, was playing a different game than the rest of us. He was doing things nobody thought possible. On May 30th, against the Senators again, Mickey hit a ball off Pedro Ramos that cleared the right field roof at Yankee Stadium by inches, missing being the first ball ever hit out of the stadium by less than 2 feet. Afterward, reporters asked Mickey if he realized how close he'd come to history. "I hit it good," was all Mickey said. He never had the words to describe his own greatness. He'd grown up in mines, not classrooms. Expressing himself was as foreign as the New York spotlight. 1957, the follow-up. The next season proved 1956 wasn't a fluke. Mickey hit .365 with 34 home runs and 94 RBIs. He walked 146 times, showing patience that combined with his power to make him virtually unmanageable. He won his second consecutive MVP award. But his legs were deteriorating. He played in pain constantly now. The Yankees training staff wrapped his knees, thighs, and ankles before every game. He could barely walk after games, but ran the bases with a speed that still frightened pitchers. "I don't know how he does it," teammate Tony Kubek said. "His legs are held together by tape and willpower, but once the game starts, he's still the fastest player I've ever seen." The decline, 1961 to 1968. The home run chase, 1961. Roger Maris arrived in 1960, and suddenly Mickey had a rival. The press created a narrative. Maris was the outsider, cold and distant. Mickey was the beloved Yankee, charming and charismatic. The reality was more complex. Mickey and Roger became close friends, but when both started chasing Ruth's 60 home runs in 1961, the pressure became unbearable. By September, Mickey was hitting 54 home runs with a .317 average. Roger had 61, but was batting .269. The question everyone asked, who would break Ruth's record? The answer was neither and both. An abscess on Mickey's hip, caused by an injection from an unconventional doctor, reportedly containing amphetamines and other substances that struck bone, hospitalized him in late September. He watched the season's final games from a hospital bed, while Roger hit his 61st off Tracy Stallard on October 1st. "I was happy for Roger," Mickey said years later, "but part of me died in that hospital bed. I'd come so close, if my body had just cooperated one more time." The pattern was set. Mickey's talent remained otherworldly, but his body was his enemy. 1962 to 1968, the slow fade. The next 7 seasons told the same story, brilliant moments interrupted by injuries. Mickey broke his foot in 1963, tore his shoulder in 1965, broke his hand in 1966. Each injury robbed him of another piece of his greatness. He still hit home runs. He still made spectacular plays. In 1964, he hit .303 with 35 home runs and helped the Yankees to another pennant. But he was playing on one functional leg, the other wrapped so heavily he could barely bend it. By 1968, Mickey was 36 but looked 50. He hit .237 with 18 home runs. He could no longer play center field, relegated to first base, where his lack of mobility was less exposed. The Yankees, in last place, were no longer a dynasty. On September 28, 1968, Mickey Mantle played his final game. He went 0 for 3 with a walk. He received a standing ovation. He walked slowly to the dugout, his legs barely supporting him, and sat down. "I'm done," he told manager Ralph Houck. "My body won't let me do this anymore." He announced his retirement at spring training in 1969. He was 37 years old. In a different body, he might have played until 42, maybe longer. But the Mantle genes, the osteomyelitis, the minds, they'd all taken their toll. Career statistics: 18 seasons, 536 home runs, 1,509 RBIs, .298 batting average, 7 World Series championships, 3 MVP awards, 16 All-Star seasons, selected to 20 All-Star games, as 2 games were played per year from 1959 to 1962. First ballot Hall of Famer in 1974. But the statistics don't capture what was lost. Mickey played much of his career on one functional leg. He drank heavily throughout, self-medicating the pain. Baseball researchers have estimated that a healthy Mickey Mantle could have hit 700 home runs, driven in 2,000 runs, and retired with a .320 average. Instead, we got the wounded version, and he was still one of the greatest players who ever lived. The Wilderness, 1969 to 1994. The Darkness. Retirement should have brought peace. It brought crisis instead. Mickey had defined himself by baseball for 37 years. Without it, he didn't know who he was. He drank, he'd always drunk, but now there was no baseball to force moderation. He became an alcoholic, though he'd never admit it. He did card shows and old-timers games, making money on his name while his body continued to betray him. His marriage to Merlin Mantle, which had survived 43 years and 4 sons, was a casualty of Mickey's drinking and infidelity. They separated but never divorced, bound by history and codependency. Mickey opened a restaurant in New York, Mickey Mantle's, which became famous less for its food than for Mickey holding court at the bar, telling stories, drinking until closing, then drinking after closing. He did commercials, he played golf, he made appearances. He was beloved everywhere he went, the golden boy, the Mick, the greatest Yankee since DiMaggio, but privately he was drowning. The tragedies multiply. The Mantle curse hadn't finished with Mickey, it wanted his sons too. Billy Mantle, Mickey's oldest son, died of a heart attack in 1994 at age 36. A heart attack, but also years of alcohol abuse, inherited directly from his father's example. Mickey Jr. died in 2000 of complications from cancer and years of alcohol abuse. He was 47. The pattern was clear and horrifying. Mantle men died young, poisoned by mines, disease, and alcohol. Mickey watched his sons repeat his mistakes and was powerless to stop them. "I was a lousy father," Mickey told a reporter in 1992. "I was drunk most of their childhood. I taught them how to drink, not how to live. That's my legacy to them, and it's killing me." The intervention. In December 1993, Mickey's family and friends staged an intervention. Mickey was 62, drinking constantly, destroying himself. His sons were heading down the same path. Someone had to break the cycle. Mickey checked into the Betty Ford Center on January 7, 1994. He spent 32 days confronting what he'd spent 6 decades running from: his father's early death, his own belief he'd die young, his guilt over wasted talent, his shame over failed fatherhood. For the first time in his adult life, Mickey Mantle got sober. "I wasted so much," he told his counselor. "God gave me everything and I pissed it away." He emerged from Betty Ford a changed man. He spoke openly about his alcoholism, warning young players not to follow his path. He reconnected with his sons, though the damage couldn't be fully repaired. He seemed finally to be finding peace. Then came the final betrayal. The end, 1995. The diagnosis. June 1995. Mickey went to the hospital complaining of stomach pain. Doctors found a tumor, advanced liver cancer. Cirrhosis from decades of drinking had destroyed his liver, and now cancer was finishing the job. On June 8th, Mickey Mantle received a liver transplant. For a moment, there was hope. He'd survived. The surgery was successful. He could recover. But the cancer had already spread. It was in his lungs, his other organs. The transplant had bought him months, not years. Mickey held a press conference at Baylor University Medical Center on July 11, 1995. He was gaunt, weak, clearly dying, but his message was clear and urgent. "I want to thank all the people who have written me and called," Mickey said, his voice steady despite everything. "But I want to say something to kids, don't be like me. God gave me a great body and a great ability to play baseball. I had everything and I blew it. I spent too much time drinking. I had operations on both knees, my shoulder, my hand, all because I didn't take care of the body God gave me." He paused, fighting tears. "This is a role model for you kids, don't be like me." The nation watched, heartbroken. The golden boy was dying, and he wanted his death to mean something. August 13th, 1995. Mickey Mantle died at 2:10 a.m., surrounded by his family. He was 63 years old, finally outliving his father by 3 years, but robbed of decades more. The funeral was held on August 15th at Lovers Lane United Methodist Church in Dallas. 2,500 people attended. Thousands more lined the streets outside. Bob Costas delivered the eulogy, capturing both Mickey's greatness and his tragedy. In the last year, Mickey Mantle, always so hard on himself, finally came to accept and appreciate the distinction between a role model and a hero, Costas said. "The first he often was not. The second he always will be." Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, Johnny Bench, they all came to say goodbye. They told stories of Mickey's power, his speed, his charisma, but they also spoke honestly about his struggles, his demons, his humanity. Mickey was buried in Sparkman Hillcrest Memorial Park in Dallas. His headstone is simple: Mickey Charles Mantle, a great teammate. The legacy. What Mickey Mantle meant. 536 home runs, but he could have hit 700. A .298 average, but he could have hit .320. 7 championships, but his body cost him at least 3 more. Mickey Mantle was the greatest what if in baseball history. But he was also something more. He was the embodiment of American mythology, the small-town boy who made it big, the hero with clay feet, the golden god who fell to earth and showed us he was human all along. Ken Burns, in his baseball documentary, said, "Mickey Mantle was a reminder that greatness and tragedy are often inseparable. We wanted him to be perfect, and he never claimed to be anything but flawed." The numbers that tell the story. During his career, Mickey Mantle played in pain approximately 85% of his games. He had surgery on both knees, his right shoulder, his left hand, and various other injuries. Medical researchers have estimated he lost approximately 30% of his mobility by age 28. Despite this, he remained one of baseball's most feared hitters. In the 1964 World Series, playing on legs that could barely support him, Mickey hit .333 with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. "If that man had been healthy," Cardinal pitcher Bob Gibson said, "nobody would have been safe. Nobody. He was the most dangerous hitter I ever faced, and he was doing it on one leg." The cultural impact. Mickey Mantle transcended baseball. He appeared on countless magazine covers. Simon and Garfunkel wrote about him. He became synonymous with a certain American ideal: power, charisma, tragic flaw. Billy Crystal, lifelong Yankees fan, said, "Mickey Mantle was our generation's connection to greatness. We knew we were watching something special, even when we were too young to understand exactly what it was." The iconic photograph of Mickey hitting from the left side, his body torqued into perfect form, became one of sport's most recognizable images. It captured something essential: beauty, power, and the brief moment before physics and injury claimed another piece of his greatness. Redemption and reflection. The final year. Mickey's last year, 1994 to 1995, after Betty Ford, but before cancer, revealed the man he might have been all along. Sober, reflective, honest about his failures. He visited sick children in hospitals, no longer drinking afterward to cope with the sadness. He reconnected with teammates he'd alienated. He tried, desperately, to make amends. "I can't give those years back," he told Merlin during one of their reconciliations. "I can't undo what I did to you and the boys, but I can try to be better now. That's all I've got left." His sons Billy and Mickey Jr., both struggling with their own alcohol demons, seemed to soften toward their father. The interventions Mickey staged for them came from hard-won experience and genuine love. When cancer struck, Mickey faced it with the same courage he'd brought to the baseball diamond. He didn't complain. He didn't ask, "Why me?" He knew why. Decades of abuse, of drinking, of ignoring the body that carried his dreams. The transplant controversy. Mickey's liver transplant sparked national debate. He received a new liver just 48 hours after being placed on the waiting list. Critics alleged celebrity treatment, that Mickey jumped the line while others died waiting. The truth was more complex. Mickey's blood type was rare. His status as a transplant candidate, while serious, was legitimate. The organ Mickey received had been declined by other patients. But the controversy highlighted something important. Even dying, Mickey Mantle created discussion, debate, and emotion. He remained, until the very end, someone people cared about deeply. The warnings. Mickey's final press conference, his warning to kids not to be like him, became his most important legacy. Here was an American icon, admitting failure, begging the next generation to learn from his mistakes. "Don't waste your talent, don't waste your body, don't drink yourself to death like I did." In death, Mickey Mantle became the role model he never was in life, an example of how not to live, delivered with such honesty and humility that it transcended the traditional sports hero narrative. Mickey Mantle's greatest gift to us, Bob Costas reflected years later, wasn't the home runs or the championships. It was his willingness, at the very end, to show us his failures and beg us not to repeat them. Today, the memory. Nearly 30 years after his death, Mickey Mantle remains one of baseball's most beloved figures. His number 7 is retired by the Yankees. His plaque in Monument Park at Yankee Stadium draws crowds. His baseball cards remain among the hobby's most valuable. But his legacy is complicated in ways that make him more, not less, human. He was an alcoholic who finally got sober, an absent father who tried, too late, to reconnect with his sons, a man given everything who threw much of it away, then spent his final days begging forgiveness. The debate continues. Was Mickey Mantle the greatest player who ever lived? If healthy, certainly he was in that conversation, but we'll never know what he could have been, only what he was, and what he was, even broken, was extraordinary. The Mantle curse. The tragedy didn't end with Mickey. His sons Billy and Mickey Jr. both died young, both from complications related to alcohol. David Mantle, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma like his grandfather and uncles, survived but lives with the knowledge that the Mantle curse might still be waiting. Only Danny Mantle, Mickey's youngest son, seems to have escaped the pattern. He speaks openly about his father's alcoholism, works to help others struggling with addiction, and keeps his father's memory alive, both the good and the bad. "Dad was complicated," Danny has said. "He was a hero to millions and a cautionary tale to millions more. Both things are true. That's what makes him human." What changed? The switch hitter revolution. Before Mickey Mantle, switch hitters were rare and usually did it out of necessity, not true ambidirectional power. Mickey proved that a switch hitter could terrorize pitchers from both sides equally. Every power switch hitter since, Chipper Jones, Eddie Murray, Carlos Beltran, follows the path Mickey pioneered. He showed that switch hitting wasn't a gimmick but a weapon. The power and speed combination. Mickey ran the bases faster than anyone his size should have been able to. He hit balls farther than anyone with his speed should have managed. He combined elements that traditionally didn't exist in the same player. The modern five-tool player, hit for average, hit for power, run, field. Throw was essentially defined by Mickey Mantle. He was the template. The celebrity athlete. Mickey was one of the first baseball players to transcend his sport. He appeared in movies, did commercials, became a brand. The modern athlete as celebrity begins, in many ways, with Mickey Mantle in 1950s New York. The flawed hero. Perhaps most importantly, Mickey Mantle helped usher in an era of honest reflection on sports heroes. His admission of alcoholism, his public struggles, his final warning, they opened the door for athletes to be seen as human, flawed, struggling. We no longer expect our sports heroes to be perfect. Mickey taught us that lesson, painfully but necessarily. The sound of thunder. Monument Park, 2024. At Yankee Stadium, tourists gather around Mickey Mantle's plaque. They read about the home runs, the championships, the Triple Crown. Some remember watching him play, most never did. But they all understand what he meant. They've seen the footage of his mammoth home runs. They've heard the stories from their fathers and grandfathers. They know that Mickey Mantle, even now, represents something essential about baseball and America: extraordinary talent, tragic flaw, and the eternal question of what might have been. Next to the plaque is a quote Mickey gave to a reporter in 1993, 2 years before his death. "If I'd known I was going to live this long, I'd have taken better care of myself." Below it, added after his death, are the words from his final press conference. "God gave me everything and I blew it, don't be like me." These two quotes, placed together, capture everything about Mickey Mantle: the regret, the humor, the honesty, the tragedy. The real record. Tom Greenwade, the scout who discovered Mickey, once said something that haunts baseball historians. If Mantle had been healthy, if he'd taken care of himself, he would have hit 800 home runs and nobody would have ever come close. We'll never know if that's true. What we know is that a boy from Oklahoma lead mines, playing on one functional leg, drinking himself to death, still managed to become one of the greatest players who ever lived. The healthy Mickey Mantle might have been the greatest of all time. The broken Mickey Mantle was still extraordinary. That's how immense his talent was. That's how much he lost. That's how much he still accomplished. The legacy lives. Every spring, young players arrive at Yankees camp in Tampa. They see the number 7 jersey. They hear the stories. Some watch the old footage and can't believe what they're seeing. "That's not possible," they say. "It was," the old-timers tell them, "and he did it on one leg." The impossible home runs, the blazing speed, the switch-hitting power, the championships, the tragedy, the alcohol, the redemption, the warning. All of it together creates something larger than baseball, larger than statistics, larger than heroism or failure. It creates Mickey Mantle, the most talented and most tragic figure his sport has ever known. The thunder still echoes. On April 17, 1953, Mickey Mantle hit a baseball 565 feet. The ball cleared the left field bleachers at Griffith Stadium, soared over the beer sign on 5th Street, and landed in a backyard where a young boy picked it up and kept it for the rest of his life. That boy is 80 now. He still has the ball. When asked why he never sold it, despite offers in the hundreds of thousands, he says, "Some things you don't sell." Mickey Mantle hit that ball farther than anyone thought possible. It's proof that magic is real, even if it doesn't last. Some gifts transcend the moment. Some warnings echo forever. Some players, even in failure, teach us something essential about excellence and loss. Mickey Mantle played 18 seasons on broken legs. He hit 536 home runs when he should have hit 700. He won 7 championships when he could have won 10. He died at 63 when he should have lived to 90. But what he created, the tape measure home runs, the World Series heroics, the switch-hitting revolution, and finally, in his last days, the honest reckoning with a life not fully lived, remains suspended in memory. The Mick is gone, the thunder still echoes. And in Yankee Stadium, every spring, young players look at that number 7 and wonder what it must have been like to be Mickey Mantle, to have everything, to lose so much, and still be remembered as one of the greatest who ever played the game. The fastest man in baseball, running on one functional leg. The most powerful hitter in baseball, destroying his body one drink at a time. The golden boy who became the cautionary tale. The greatest player who ever lived, if only he'd lived differently. Mickey Charles Mantle, 1931 to 1995. A great teammate. And a great, flawed, unforgettable human being whose story will echo forever.